Hey y'all, Simply It's Logical here, and welcome back to the channel. Either way, thank y'all for joining me for today's episode of Pangea Wildlife Park, a brand new park in a brand new game that I just brought to the channel about a month ago or so now. But anyways, let's get into the video. So as you can tell, we are building for the Brachiosaurus today, and I wanted to put them where we built the Ankies in last episode of Pangea Wildlife Park, which was right at the entrance. But because I wanted the sight line of seeing the brachiosaurs hanging or like their heads over the entrance as you walk up, and I love the idea of that sight line, so I wanted to use that. So I had to move the Ankies out of the way, and they are now across from the Dryosaurus, I believe. But anyways, enough about that. Let's get into what I'm currently working on. So you saw at the very beginning, we added in a quick little water area, and I love the terrain brush in this game. So far, it's been absolutely amazing, and I have had no issues with it. But here you can see I am working on the rock wall. Because the brachiosaurs are so massive, they need such a high wall to keep them in. So I just used rocks. And again, with the resizing tool, it's so easy to make one big rock wall thing, copy it a couple times, change a couple, and then you get a couple different variants. And I love this resizing tool because you can see here I just stretched that out just a little bit. Now I'm shrinking it to make it lower, and this resizing tool is absolutely amazing. And here you can see I'm going to make this bit taller at the back because I wanted, with this habitat being so big, I wanted a tiered habitat, I guess you could say. I wanted somewhat of a hill in the back to add more depth and more interest for the eyes themselves. So I raised the back wall up, and I'm now slowly or gradually lowering each rock wall portion a little bit to make it look as if it's a gradual height change. And then here you can see I've added in some water, a small waterfall off camera. This is me just trying to figure out how I want the backstage to be, but I'll get to that later. But back to the waterfall. So I knew I hadn't worked with water at all in this game yet. Or a waterfall anyways. And I wanted to have some sort of water feature in this build. So I just kind of I won't say threw it together because it took me a while to get it figured out. But the waterfalls not having like an actual item to them is great. Here you can see my mouse is still acting up, still haven't gotten a new one. And you'll see this happen in probably the next 2 or 3 videos. Because if you don't know, I'm currently not at my house where we have just been moved to. I am back home with my family for a couple months. So I am currently, I guess you could say, on break for work and stuff like that. So I am just I'm planning on getting a new mouse. It's just taking time. But anyways, here you can see we have now finished the terrain work in the background. I made a little hill out of the terrain brush. And now you can see I'm working on a viewing platform. And let me tell you, I struggled so hard with this platform. I had no idea what I wanted it to look like. I didn't know if I wanted it to be closed or open. I had no clue. And I spent probably 3 hours in game just trying to figure out what sort of platform I wanted. I do ultimately settle with this one. I just used the arid stone pieces and then the modern vertical wooden piece, and with some metal beams and a in-game fence that I just stretched to fit the entirety of the wall. And then here you can see I'm creating a ramp because we want it to be wheelchair accessible or handicap accessible. And so I'm creating this ramp, and then I'm going to fill in the ramp the exact same way that we have the platform base. You can see I start out with all stone, but I do change it to the top portion being the stained wood. Once I get this little bit in right here, I'll take this top portion and make that wood, and then we'll get that done. So here you can see I've now added the top portion, made that wood, and you're going to copy this over to the other side, get it lined up, and now it's on to another platform. Now for this platform, I want it to be the exact same as the platform you just saw me build, but I don't want it to be as thick, or as wide, I guess you could say. Because for this platform, I wanted it to be a curved platform, viewing, like, sitting inside of the habitat almost. And I do end up going, you can see here I'm using the circle trick of making a big circle for a proper curve and everything. But I do want to go in and make, so you can, I'm sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up. So you can see I've created the half circle that I want. I delete the back half, and you can see I haven't added the base to the back because I want to raise that terrain up. So you'll basically be able to walk onto the platform instead of having to walk upstairs or a ramp or anything like that. So currently it's inaccessible in all capacities, but we fix it at some point. We'll get it fixed and it'll be accessible and everything. But here you can see I've now moved on to the backstage building. And let me tell you, I hate this building. I like how I built the door and the interior, but I hate how squared and how rectangular this building is. I personally struggle so hard with making buildings look interesting in adding bump outs and all that sort of stuff, especially when it comes to backstage buildings. I have to almost always have a reference of what I'm going to be building in order to make it look good. And at this point in time that I was building this, one, I was already done with this build because it had frustrated me so much with the viewing platform. And two, I was stressed. I was having to get videos made and put together because I'm going to be gone for 2 months. And so at this point, I'm just done. And I'm just ready for this build to be over and to get it done with. So I just quickly kind of threw this building together, came back a little bit later, and actually did the interior properly how I would like for it to be done. But I do want to go in and kind of revamp the building exterior a little bit. But we'll see. Because as most of you may know, for Planet Zoo in particular, I create a map of how I want the zoo to look. I create an outline of what I want our animal list to be. And I made the animal roster for Prehistoric Kingdom, or the dino roster for Prehistoric Kingdom, for Pangea Wildlife Park. I've made that, but I still have no map. I don't know how I want it to laid out. I think I know how I want it laid out, but I'm not exactly sure. So part of me is thinking of just trashing this zoo altogether and starting with a brand new one, but part of me also wants to continue this one and kind of go back, redo the habitats that I don't like, and make it something that I actually like. But so let me know down in the comments below what you think I should do, whether you think I should just trash it and start over, or continue with this and kind of go back and revamp the habitats that I don't necessarily like. Because this next habitat, so episode 5 of Pangea Wildlife Park, I absolutely love that habitat. So that one and the Dryosaurus would stay. Really, right now, it's only the Brachiosaur habitat that I don't necessarily care for. And I just think it's a little bit bland, if I'm being honest. But anyways, enough about that rant. Now it's on to a access gate, I guess you could say, for the staff, because I kept getting this stupid message saying that the staff can't access your habitat or whatever, and it was driving me crazy. So instead of deleting a whole bunch of rocks and putting a gate there, I created this sort of access gate that I basically copied from Simply Savannah's Brachiosaur habitat that she just built. And I alter it just a little bit. So you can see here, the base is the exact same in the fact that I'm using the same pieces and all that. But here in just a second, once we get to like the finishing it, I add a little red light to act as if if the gate is open, then obviously the light would be red. If the light is green, then it's closed or something like that. So that's kind of what I had in mind, and I really love how this turned out. And I used this gate for a couple more builds, and I'll probably use this throughout the entire zoo, but I really love how this turned out. And here you can see I'm also, because I think Savannah, she did hers was a full gate, so it was like a swing open gate, I think. I don't really know. I can't remember at this point. But I decided to have mine as like a sliding gate. So it won't swing open. It will, whenever it's open, it will go into itself, if that makes any sense. So would be like a track in there, the gate would go in, and then it would close shut. But now it's onto the foliage, and let me tell you, this is another reason that I'm kind of debating on whether or not to trash this park and start a new one, because I think because this zoo, I believe, is in a temperate biome, all of my dinosaurs hate it because of the biome that it's in. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. I have not played franchise at all in this game yet. I'm still I'm starting to get used to the controls and the building pieces and everything, but I'm definitely a little bit out of my element right now. So anyways, if y'all have any tips or tricks about this game, if y'all have any interesting facts about the Brachiosaurus themselves, let me know. All I know is that they're really tall and they look really cool. But anyways, that's enough for me. I'm going to leave y'all with these last 2-3-ish minutes of foliage work, and then it'll be on to the end cinematics. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you on the next one. Please make sure to leave a like, a subscribe, all of that good YouTube stuff, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.